Machiko-san. With you two making such a fuss about judo and soup, how could I possibly hope to get any sleep? I'm glad to see that you're doing well, Tako-kun. Forgive me for taking such measures, but I feared that I wasn't getting warm fast enough, and I did what I thought was necessary. At least, it was more enjoyable, a more enjoyable sleep than you would have had in the cell. I doubt that Tsundere Tyrant was it. I thought she would have given you the same service. Yeah. Let's just say that the hospitality was much, appreciated. I am glad to hear that. If you would like to change, there is a screen just over there. I promise I won't look, of course. I guess one of us has to do it. I watched as Machiko closed her eyes, hiding her face in her hands as if to reassure me that she wouldn't peek. Taking my chances, I climbed out from under the blanket and made my way towards the wooden screen. Once I reached it, I quickly began changing. If you would be so kindly as to do me a favor, Tako-kun. My robes should be upon a dresser behind you. Could you pass them to me, please? It would speed matters up greatly. Sure. Give me a second. After looking around for a moment, I found the robes neatly folded up on a dresser. My skin skips a beat as I took a hold of them, before turning towards the screen to hand them over. Say, Machiko-san, how come you two walk around stealing people's underwear? I mean, you don't look like bad people to me. Well, it is complicated. Mayako was researching a spell she had wanted to perform, one that would allow us easier access to certain things we need, and one of the agreements was a maiden silk. The only silk I could think of was, well, you already know the answer. By maiden silk you mean... I guess I understand why you would think that, but isn't maiden silk another term for a wedding sash? It is in my world, at least. As I said that, the girl appeared from the other side of the screen. I never realized. What's that, Oni-sama? A maiden silk. It's a wedding sash. All our work was for naught. Oh, well, at least a wedding sash will be easier to get. I'll just have to marry Tako-kun. What? A few minutes later. Ah, music soothes my soul. After that little incident, we relocated to the kitchen. The smell of food filled the air. Despite the younger girl's easygoing attitude, always humming with some cheerful melody, I found my cheeks still burning from embarrassment. To think that a girl would say such a thing. I quickly shook my head to clear the thoughts from my mind and turned towards the elder sister. The soup is delicious! Is Mayako-chan usually the one doing the cooking around here? Yay! I'm glad you like it, Taco, Mr. Taco. I don't usually cook, so I made a few lucky guesses. It is rather delicious, Mayako-chan. Perhaps you could do more cooking from now on. It would allow me more time to lounge around. Well, the first step to getting your wedding sash is to become a good housewife, and that includes cooking. So, he is very sexist. Good to know. I added this with a bit of amusement following Machiko's comment. I took another sip of the soup. For a few lucky guesses, the dish had turned out pretty well. That's true. I'll learn how to clean, I'll cook for you, and I don't know what else, but it'll be fun learning. Mayako, you should stop that. You know very well that it would be pointless for you to marry him. Only the villagers know how to craft a wedding sash, and we both know this will not happen. That's not necessarily true, Machiko-san. It only becomes even more evident that you are not of this world, Tako-kun. The villagers do not tolerate our existence. They despise us. We could never ask such a favor of them. All we have to do is to find some way to make the villagers accept you. But I guess I'll need to learn more about the village itself before we can do that. The pale-haired woman shook her head slowly, her ears flattening against her head as she did. It is not that simple. They would never trust us. Humans and fox spirits have never been able to get along. I am honestly surprised that you had been able to tolerate us this long. I would be happy to be proven wrong, and you are free to stay here as long as you wish, until, of course, you too grow weary of our ways and decide to leave.
Oni-sama, please don't say things like that. Taco-kun, Taco, wouldn't do that, would you, Taco?
Of course not. I wouldn't abandon someone just because they're a different species. That's not the way Gushiken Takahiro does things. Gushiken. However, I do remember that the village elder tells me that it wasn't just the fox spirits. It sounded like humans and spirits everywhere have been on bad terms for a long time. Do you know why, Machiko-san? Gotta get some history up in here. Woohoo! I do not recall. Much information is withheld, even from someone such as myself. Most spirits keep to themselves these days. There are a few exceptions, Sayuri being one of them. Powerful spirits come and go as they please, but they tend to remain in their world. Fox spirits, however, have no other place to go. We are stuck in the human world, for better or for worse.
Huh? Huh? I didn't realize it was like that. I guess I'm finally learning stuff.
Well, that Sayuri character lives in the shrine, right? We should try asking her for some ideas. No. We do not need to go ask to see her. Absolutely not. No. I don't want to see her. I don't want to. I was somewhat taken aback by Machiko's suddenly childish way of speaking. It reminds me of the times I've been told to go visit the doctor when I was younger, complaining and throwing tantrums all along the way. But isn't she the only one that can help us? I refuse to go. Sayuri is a fiend, and I dislike the idea of spending even a second in her presence. She can't be that bad, can she? Besides, if anything happens, I'll protect you. Fine. If it really means that much to you, I will attempt to lead you to the shrine again, but you will enter the grounds alone. I don't want to go anywhere near that place. You'll be on your own, Tako-kun.
Can I come, Oni-sama?
Absolutely not. I forbid it. You are not to follow us under any circumstances, Mayako.
Oh, I'll stay here, just like you said. I'll be here, in the mansion. All alone, unprotected, by myself. Who knows what'll happen to me? I could get trapped under a bookcase and die. Or slip on a banana peel and die.
I like her.
Or get bored and die of boredom. I'd be super duper bored sitting here all alone in the same place, day in and day out.
Fine, I get it. You may come along, but you must be on your best behavior, little one. No running around and no talking unless spoken to.
Okay.
Despite Mayako's cheerfulness, I couldn't help but wonder what had happened between Machiko and this Sayuri for her to react so strongly. I decided that maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea to spend some time with the two sisters to get to know them a bit better. Well, I do have 2 weeks until I need to get back to my own world, so there's really no need to rush. How about we do something else instead? I'm sure Machiko-san wouldn't mind the distraction. Well, the longer I get to stay away from that place, the better. How about bringing Mayako-chan along to go fetch some desserts for us? There are oranges, apples, and a small vineyard behind the mansion. I could whip up some cream to go with it, if you would like. Sure, that sounds easy enough. Let's get us some delicious fruit, Mayako-chan.
Alright.
As Mayako led me towards the garden of the impressive mansion, she seemed a little quiet, as though she had something on her mind. I wanted to ask her about it, but something about the way her ears sagged and her tail hung low told me that probably wasn't the best idea. I decided I would simply try to cheer up. So which do you prefer, Mayako-chan? Apples, grapes, or oranges? We could gather all three, but I bet we could grab a few for ourselves first.
apples, I guess. I knew a fox spirit once, a friend of Onisama, who loved apples. I can't remember her name, though. I guess my head's a bit hollow.
Apples are awesome. Crunchy on the outside and sweet on the inside. And your head isn't hollow, silly. If that were true, I think I'd still be stuck in that jail cell.
Onisama did most of the thinking, though. I just sort of went along with what she said.
Well, someone had to take the lead. Besides, I'm so grateful for your help all the same. How about... I playfully flicked Mako's forehead with a grin. See? It doesn't sound hollow at all. I'm sure there's plenty of clever thoughts in that pretty little head of yours.
Ow, meanie.
Now you know I'm right, at least. Anyway, let's get those apples, shall we?
Okay, I'll get them. You go grab the basket over there.
Alright, let's get down to business. To defeat the Huns. Sorry. Feeling hyped, I went to grab one of the baskets stacked nearby. I returned to Mako, who had started climbing out of the trees. The girl looked accustomed to climbing. Brain fart. But her small hands had me a bit worried. Hanging from the branch with just her legs, she checked to see if the apples were ripe. Nago-chan, be careful, you might slip. Ow! The girl had thrown an apple at me, and while my reflexes let me catch it with ease, the force behind it still stung my palm at least a little. Of course, I did exaggerate a bit for the girl.
Ah, I'll be fine, Taka-kun. I've been climbing these trees all my life.
Even the most experienced climbers end up running into trouble if they aren't careful. Ooh, excuse me. I smiled weakly at the girl's excited attitude, placing the apple I caught into the basket.
You don't know what you're talking about. I'm a fox spirit. I won't fall. I'm super careful. Watch, I'll grab the apples near the top.
Wait, Maiko-chan. Unless you can fly, I don't think you could go for those.
Fly? I can't do that, silly Taco-kun. Who has ever heard of a flying fox spirit? Oh!
As expected, the moment Maiko tried to reach for one of the apples near the top of the tree, the girl ended up losing her footing and tumbled down towards the ground with a loud cry. Maiko! Her reflexes quickly kicked themselves into gear, trying to catch the girl before she hit the ground. Unfortunately, I didn't notice the apples scattering around the tree, and as a result, ended up tripping over them. I managed another few steps and was able to catch Maiko before I dropped to the ground. My head was throbbing once I had recovered from the fall. I tried to sit up, but found myself held down by a small but substantial weight. Opening my eyes, I looked up to see Maiko sitting on my lap.
Owie! I guess I tried to reach a bit too far. Thank you, Takahiro. You saved me. And you gave me a soft, well, kinda soft and kinda hard landing.
Oh gosh, I know what this is. Maiko-chan, do you mind, you're crushing me.
What? Oh my gosh, Takahiro, I'm sorry.
As the younger girl grew increasingly flustered, I knew I had to calm her down. Gently, I tilted my legs beneath her, and she toppled forward, her head resting against my chest. I guess you learned that fox spirits can be pretty clumsy, or maybe that Maiko is even cuter up close than I had thought.
What? Takahiro, I think you're mistaking me for Onisama.
Nope, I'm talking about you. You have that innocent side to you that's really charming. I wouldn't be surprised if lots of people from the village would want to claim you as their adorable little sister once we've cleared up those misunderstandings.
I'd be happy to call you my brother, Takahiro, but lots of people in that village are super mean. I just want to spend time with you and Onisama.
Brother? How about darling?
Darling? I don't know if I'm ready for that.
Really? I think we'd be a cute couple. A hero and a fox spirit, living happily ever after. Your sister would stay too. I could raise a little family. I mean, we already have a house, so we wouldn't have to worry about that. And any guy from my world would kill to have a pretty wife like you. I held back a chuckle, knowing all too well that my teasing was taking effect, and yet I was also happy to see her spirits seemingly lifted.
Thank you, Takani.
I think Taka-kun would be better. with the taco. Not the taka, taco. Machiko-san probably wouldn't like another sibling. But I'm glad you cheered up. You didn't seem too happy earlier. The way your tail and eyes were hanging low reminded me of a scolded puppy.
Huh? Oh right, I was just thinking is all. You know, but that spell I wanted to try. Only that needs. Another typo.
Woohoo! Whatever. Wedding sash. It's kind of like a belt that the bride wears during the wedding ceremony. I doubt any spell involving panties would be a good idea to cast.
Oh, I thought it was like wedding undies that we wear on your wedding night. Anyway, the spell. I don't know why, but I've wanted to try it for a little while now, and well, it's a gate spell. Not like those temporary ones. Those are easy to make. A permanent one, like a portal to a different place.
And that was a typo, I believe, as well. Sounds interesting, but are you sure it's safe?
Silly Takani, that's not the point. The spell, it might be able to help you.
Well, that's good and all. I prefer not ending up in the middle of the sea or a live volcano. I think we should be a bit more careful with your magic.
I'm a good mage. I'm also a good mouse. Oh?
That's what Harry said when he told Atlantis that he had a solution to their water shortage.
Huh? What's Atlantis?
The Lost Empire. That's what it is. A city with high ambition, sunk into the deep due to poor management. Anyway, I think it's best if we get an expert's opinion before we try anything. We're going to visit this Sayuri anyway, so maybe she'll be able to tell us if your spell will get me home.
Well, but Sushan told me I shouldn't use magic at all. She said it was only for her to use or something.
Maybe she had a reason for something like that. Like, maybe, I don't know, do spells have side effects?
You're just like One-sama. She forbid me too, but I showed her that spells could be helpful and that I could control them. So she let me do more research. I'm not going to throw spells around like they're nothing. I'm not a dumb little kid.
I'm not going to do anything. Besides, you seem old enough to take care of yourself. Not that I know how old someone like you might be, but beware the dark side of magic. And most stories, magic usually comes with a price. Like, what would you do if magic gave you a terrible tummy ache, or headaches, or worse, diarrhea? Upset stomach, diarrhea. You should use Pepto-Bismol if that happens. And you better prepare a gate spell to the nearest bathroom.
I do get headaches, but those aren't really all that big of a deal. And I get to do a lot of things for One-sama. I'm not going to change that ever. So there!
I already said I wasn't going to make you do anything. However, what you do need to change is the fact that you're straddling me, and you're rather close, so I'd appreciate it if you could get off.
Aw, but you're so warm and soft. I could just cuddle you and sleep on you.
Wait, don't go falling asleep on me.
Just kidding. I want to do something like that over here. Maybe tonight, though. It's only fair since One-sama got to do it. But, more importantly, dessert! We need to get back inside. One-sama is probably wondering what's taking us so long.
I couldn't really argue with the girl's impeccable logic. With a smile, I helped the girl to her feet and gathered a few fallen apples into the basket. We returned to Machiko and enjoyed our dessert together. It wasn't too long after that Mayako started to feel sleepy, so Machiko took her to bed, wishing me a good night. The next morning, I awoke the next morning to the sun filtering in through the wooden blinds. What time is it? Okay. Yawning loudly, the girls had more graciously given me an entire room to myself, and it was certainly a lot bigger than my room back home. It was still early in the morning, likely a bit before breakfast. I decided to spend a short moment to gather my thoughts. never eat before doing something like this. It was clear that, in order to learn more about my situation, I would need to pay a visit to the shrine. Maybe I could even find the answers to some other questions that have been lingering in the back of my mind for a while now. The fact that Machiko seemed surprisingly nervous at the mention of Sayuri's name made me wonder about their relationship. What could possibly have happened to make Machiko react like that? The apparent hostility between the villagers and the Foxbears was another issue altogether. Of course, I couldn't forget about the fact that I needed to find a way to get home as well. Just as I finished gathering my thoughts, Mayeko's voice resounded from the downstairs.
Takani, breakfast is ready. Would you get Oni-sama?
Sure, we'll be right there. I quickly made my way out of the room, finding myself within one of the corridors of the mansion. Once outside, it didn't take long for me to find Machiko. Yeah, it's just for some reason, it just feels weird to say that name. Wandering down the corridor, her lips curling into a smile when she saw me. No need to look for me, Tako-kun. Mayeko's voice reached me loud and clear. Good morning, Machiko-san. Did you sleep well? It was a decent sleep, although perhaps a bit lonely. However, you seem to be getting along well with my little sister. Takani, was it? Perhaps I should consider you my rival in the quest for the heart of our dear Mayeko-chan. She seems to like it. I guess I'll be stuck with that name for a while. Oh, is it not to your liking? Well, perhaps you should prefer darling instead? You were watching us? Indeed. It was taking you both such a long time. I grew rather curious and snuck out. But I didn't see you at all. Well, I am a fox spirit. Hiding myself from humans is like playing hide and seek with a child. Then why didn't you use your hiding skills to hide from the guards? Now that you mention it, the thought never occurred to me. Well, it certainly was fun getting chased by them. Unfortunately, Mayeko does not have the best control over her change. She is far too excitable and is unable to maintain the illusion. It is her one magical blind spot. I'm sure it wouldn't have been fun if the Tsundere Tyrant had caught you both. It certainly would have been an unpleasant experience. Then again, I'm sure you would have ended up saving me, wouldn't you, Tako-kun? I noticed a subtle change in Machiko's voice as the sweet sugar-coated words caused my cheeks to flush red. I really wasn't any good at dealing with this girl's flirty attitude. Stepping backwards, I turned towards the stairs at the end of the corridor and replied in a hurried tone. Mayeko-chan is waiting for us. With that, I rushed towards the kitchen, with Machiko giggling behind me as she followed.
Oh, good morning, both of you. I fixed up some eggs and toast for you. There are some oranges, too.
Ah, wonderful. Thank you, little one. You're getting better at this. To wake up, knowing a pretty girl made my breakfast. It's good to be alive. Perhaps you enjoyed just resting by my side as well. That's a bit overkill, especially considering the condition of said girl. I recall the sight of Machiko sleeping yesterday and my cheeks immediately grew red. I quickly sat down at the table, trying to distract myself by changing the subject. So, thanks to you two, I learned a little about this world. How about I return the favor and talk about mine? Do you have anything you want to ask?
Oh, yes! I want to know. What are spirits like in your world?
Spirits, you say? I thought about her question for a moment before I replied with a sheepish grin. Well, in my world, spirits only exist in folk tales. They appear in stories, and certain religions even worship them. But it's not like we get them running around like they do in this world. Folk tales? Worship? Your world is strange, Tako-kun.
Oh, that's kinda boring. What about your life? Are you a defender of your village? You said something about Judo before. What is that?
You mean judo? Well, in my world, people go to a place called school. It's basically a place of knowledge where you learn a lot of things before you're considered an adult in our society. But in my world, the defenders are known as the police. They keep things peaceful and such. unless you're in America. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I'm just a student. I guess you could say that I'm studying to become a defender, not just of my village, but of my whole country. It was a bit exaggerated, but it felt kind of nice to call myself a defender.
That sounds weird. Is the police like the army or something, defending a whole nation?
Well, it's very strange, Tako-kun. I wouldn't call it strange, Machiko-san. Is this world that's weird? But no, the police is like the guards in the village. We do have an actual army that defends the country, though.
Either way, your world sounds like fun, especially if everyone's like you. Anyway, Oh no! Oh, dang it! Those oranges all have worms in them. Ew, 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 ew.
Actually, wouldn't apples? Never mind.
Oni-sama, did you forget to check them again?
Oh, how terrible. I must have been overcome with fatigue and never gotten around to checking them properly.
Bruh! There you go, lazy meanie. I'll just have to go and get some apples instead.
As Mayako went outside to grab some apples, my eyes drifted towards me. Mayako, who was observing me with a content smile, clearly pleased with something. It was such a relief to see her in such a good mood. It has been a tough few months, I must admit. She has been upset about her magical skills have not been progressing as fast as they once did. We all have our ups and downs, especially when it comes to studying. I still remember how I used to dread exams, so little time for my judo. It made me rather sad at times. That does sound rather stressful. Tell me, Tako-kun, what it is that you study. I am intrigued by this school notion. Well, my situation is a bit different from most. While I go to school like everyone else, I actually aim to become an athlete. To explain it in a way you'd understand, an athlete is someone who practices a certain sport, and those who are among the best end up representing their country. I have an upcoming tournament that will decide whether or not I will be able to represent my country in judo. I think I understand. Your focus is on your strength, while still gathering knowledge to allow yourself a multitude of options. An interesting method. I should thank you. I guess you could say it like that, but why thank me? I believe that your sudden appearance in our world has had a lot to do with my newfound joy. I can hear her singing, something I have not heard in weeks. It warms my heart to see her so overjoyed. And I believe it is because of you. Thank you, Tako-kun. I doubt that's the only reason, but you're welcome. I smiled bashfully at Miyako before continuing. Then again, I should also thank you busting my rear out of jail. I don't want to think about what will happen. What would have happened. What I've been doing. Ugh, I am horrible at this. Think about what I would have been doing if I was still in the care of this endeared tyrant. You are most welcome. But please, do not be so hard on Mayo-chan. There are many things here beyond her control. But perhaps it is out of our hands for now. I still wish to thank you, Tako-kun. I have been wondering how I might repay you for bringing such joy to Mayako-chan. Repay me? For a moment, my thoughts drifted towards a certain idea, but my cheeks quickly turned scarlet red at the thought. You perv. I couldn't ask something like that of her. I'm not sure I have anything in mind. I think your smile is enough. You are a true gentleman, Tako-chan. And it's a shame, though. I was thinking of such naughty things, too. The fox figure giggled to herself as she turned towards the garden, watching Mayako struggle to descend from one of the trees with an armful of apples. Mayako-chan, there are only 3 of us. Your belly does not count as a 4th person. Speaking of 4th person, it sounds like you two used to talk a lot with the spirit at the shrine. Why do you get so nervous whenever this Sayurian's fault? Yeah, that's not important. Oh, is that a giant bird carrying the seed of the whole world tree? Oh, maybe it is. I should go in. Sayuri, don't know. Thank you for visiting us today. Machiko-san is right over there. Ah! Sayuri, no, I'm sorry. I've just been terribly busy. Please forgive me. Sayuri-sama. Whoa. To think you'd get that flustered. Is she that amazing of a person? You don't understand. It is complicated. There are certain skills that I, as a fox spirit, possess. A subtle way of talking or acting that influence how people perceive me. They are, I suppose they would be considered social skills, but for spirits. Sayuri is capable of completely negating these, and it leaves me feeling rather nervous and helpless. I see, so basically she's immune to your flirting, and... Connecting the dots in my mind, I planted the palm of my hand against my forehead. Now I get it. You're afraid of pushing her because this Sayuri is a bigger flirt than you. But if she's flirting with you... Oh, I see. You swing that way. For some reason, I suddenly felt rather disappointed. That's not true. Well, maybe. I mean, she has an overpowering presence, and it does not allow me to properly, do my thing. I'm not sure what you mean by swinging, however. It means that you know, like girls? Oh, really? Well, how about we forget all about Sayuri for now, and I'll show you exactly what way I do swing Tako-kun. That won't be necessary. But she might be quite of a challenge to deal with, considering... I briefly lowered my voice to a whisper. You're already a handful to deal with once you start your teasing. You are perhaps less the gentleman I thought you to be, Tako-kun. What am I then? A lovable rogue, perhaps. Or maybe you see yourself as more of a hero type? Of course I'm a hero. A perverted one, but a hero nonetheless.
Oni-sama, Takani!
Welcome back, Miyako-chan. How did the hunt for the golden apple go?
Hee, no golden ones, but I got a lot of good ones. Even one that's shaped like a heart. You can have that one, Takani.
An apple shaped like a heart? Interesting. Does that mean you're confessing your love for me by giving me this?
Hehe, maybe I am.
I seriously think Ichikawa would kill me if he saw me in my current situation. I thank you, fair lady. I should savor every moment of its sweet flavor. Mahiko, how could you betray your love of me, your one and only sister? Did our time together mean nothing? Oh my.
Hehe, but I love you too, Oni-sama. I found a super big apple for you.
Well, look at me at its finest.
Well, we better hurry up. We're going to see Sue-chan.
Wait, what? I thought you at least need to ask for her permission and wait until she grew bored enough to reply.
I know, but when I was picking apples, I found one of her tiny familiars. She said she wanted to see us today.
Oh, poopy. And that's where I'll end this episode, series, hour thing. Yeah, if you guys haven't noticed, I actually record this thing in hour segments and cut it up into 20 minutes each. So, it's like 3 episodes per recording session. So, I'd actually like to say thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, for actually joining me on this one. And I will see you guys next time.
Bye!